Hey, hey! Shiny Pokemon. We know them, we love them, we hunt for them, we wonder about their origins sometimes, maybe? Or is that just me? Well, you know what? You're here now. Like it or not, this is 20 potential shiny Pokemon origins. I made this video in collaboration with another Poketuber. Please give a warm hey to Elite Trainer Lynn.
Hello, I'm Elite Trainer Lynn, here to talk about some potential shiny origins of Pokemon. Thank you, Corfish, for having me, and after you watch this video, you can check out the other part of our collab over on my channel.
Now keep in mind, we said potential. I don't think any Pokemon have official confirmation as to their shiny form's origins, so this video is gonna be pretty much purely speculatory. And yes, we're well aware that all Pokemon pre-Gen 6 got their shinies from random palette swaps, but again, this is all speculation. Alright, that's all you need to know, so let's get going.
First we have Shiftry. It turns a more reddish shade, which is likely a reference to its inspiration, Tengu. They are often being depicted with red skin, and it's also possibly a reference to redwood trees, which also have a slightly reddish tone to them, which is kind of obvious from the name. It's a perfect match between Tengu and redwood tree.
So a lot of you are bound to already know this, but Applin, Flapple, and Appleton, when shiny, are all green, just like green apples. No! But what about Diplin and Hydrapple? Their apples turn this nice gold color. Now of course, this was likely inspired by caramel apples, but there is one other possibility. It may also have taken inspiration from the golden apple. In case you have no derping idea what I'm talking about, golden apples are a staple in fairy tales and ethnic folk tales. Their most common depiction is as symbols of immortality. I think the golden apple in this connotation is much more interesting than a caramel apple, and what better Pokemon to represent this clever nod than these two?
And my next choice is Komala. The fact that Komala itself doesn't change color is kind of freaky, but the wood itself, going to what at first glance looks like a very unnatural color for wood, actually has a very clear explanation. It mimics one of the most expensive woods in the world, pink ivory wood. Once the bark is peeled off, the log has a light shade on the outside, and the middle has a very distinctly pink shade, just like the log shiny Komala hugs while sleeping.
The Voltorb line and the Fungus line. You know, the Pokemon who look just like Pokeballs, the Pokemon who disguise themselves as Pokeballs to lure trainers in. Practically, they're Pokeballs that came to life. Now let's take a look at their shinies. Cantoni and Voltorb and Electrode turn blue like Great Balls, Fungus and Amoonguss turn purple like Master Balls, and Tizui and Voltorb and Electrode turn gray like Heavy Balls. How cool is this? It's in a way a testament to how many different types of Pokeballs there are.
Next up is Mamoswine. I think a possible reason for why it's a green shade is a reference to how elephants are a common animal to depict in jade jewelry. It's a practice that's been done since ancient times, and to evolve a Piloswine into a Mamoswine, it needs to know ancient power. Also note that Hisui, which is the name of ancient Sinnoh, where this Pokemon was first introduced, literally means jade in Japanese.
So fun fact about Tangela and Tangrowth, some people think they were inspired by Medusa. You know, creepy chick from Greek mythology with tons of green snakes on her head. Now other people find this dubious, and to an extent, I agree. It can seem a little far-fetched, but just look at Tangela and Tangrowth's shinies. They both turn this bright lime green color, and what's the most common color of snake? Why, green of course. Still not sold on it? Well, according to Bulbapedia, Tangela's beta name was Medusa, and I rest my case.
How about a more recent Pokemon? How about one from Paldea? Dondozo appears to be based on Welt's fish, which occasionally, due to albinism or leucism, which is a condition that changes the skin's pigment, turns them into a white and yellow color. They're actually strikingly similar to what the shiny looks like, so it's a perfect match.
Roly-Coly line, they're Pokemon based off burning coals. Who knew, right? Have you ever been to an outdoor barbecue? If so, you may recall seeing the host burning coals on a grill to cook hot dogs and burgers and stuff. And do you know what happens to coals when they burn for a while? They turn white. And look at the Roly-Coly line shinies. They turn that same light grayish color. Now, a lot of you probably already knew about this, but silly me, I didn't realize it until relatively recently. But despite how obvious it might be, I still find it quite interesting. If only Torkoal had followed suit.
Next one is Flamigo. The shiny is a paler shade of pink, which is likely a reference to what happens to real flamingos when they stop eating their typical diet of shrimp and algae. So the birds aren't actually naturally pink, it's the artificial pink color they get from their diets, which naturally fades away if they simply stop eating it for too long. Now the question is, if you starve your Flamigo, will it actually turn white? I don't think you should starve it, so don't try this at home, trainers.
Let's take a look at two different Pokemon now, Hitmonchan and Crabrawler. What are these two based off of? Boxers. And look at their hands, claws, whatever word you want to use. They're both wearing boxing gloves. Hitmonchan's got red ones, and Crabrawler has blue ones. And you know what this is in reference to, right? The red corner and blue corner in boxing. But now, get a load of this. When they're shiny, they switch places. How neat is that? Now, of course, this could just be a coincidence, but if it was intentional, that's some pretty good attention to detail on Game Freak's part.
And we're heading over to the tropical region of Alola for the Pokemon Marini. I think Marini's inspiration is actually very clear when it comes to its shiny, because Marini is based on a crown of thorns starfish, which typically comes in darker purple and red shades, but the more juvenile the starfish is, the more pinks and oranges you'll see, and they match almost perfectly to Marini's shiny colors, so this one is a clear case.
Let's take a look at Probopus. Does it make you think of someone? Oh, sorry. Does it make you think of someone? That's right, Mario. Some people think Probopus' design was inspired by Mario, which I could definitely see. I mean, come on, the big nose, the red hat, the mustache, it's not an unreasonable theory. But now let's look at Probopus' shiny. Its blue body turns this new tan color, which isn't far off from Mario's skin tone.
Coincidence? I think not!
As a huge Mario fan myself, I always love seeing references to him in Pokemon games, and vice versa.
And next we have Cofagrigus. A real-life shiny sarcophagus was found in ancient Egypt, a rare pink granite one. And instead of the usual yellowy-brown shades that we've kind of come to expect from ancient Egypt, like when you think of the pyramids and stuff, this one actually had a more gray-white tone to it to match the pink. So there's just no reason to doubt this served as the actual inspiration for Cofagrigus' shiny colors, which I think is super cool.
Helioptile and Heliolisk. These Pokemon are all about the sun. Helioptile evolves with a sunstone, they can have solar power as their ability, and their name root, Helio, comes from Helios, which means sun. Now let's look at their shinies. They pretty much just turn red. If I ever find a shiny female one, I'm nicknaming her Maylin. Well, most of their bodies turn red. Almost as if they were sunburnt. Hey, being out in the sun for a long time will do that. I mean, just think, they can also have the dry skin ability. Not only do I find this clever, but red is my favorite color, so yeah, all around good shinies.
Get ready for some tentacles, cause it's time for Graplock. If you practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this is probably quite obvious to you, but the common attire to practice in is typically either a blue color, such as regular Graplock, or a white like the shiny. And the red in the shiny is probably also a nod to that being the highest belt you can earn, making it the rarest, just like a shiny.
Get ready for a little lesson in film history. This is Tramp, played by the late Charlie Chaplin. When you look at him, who's the first Pokemon that comes to mind? I'll give you a hint as to who I'm thinking of. Its type is Ice, its tap dancing is nice, its region is Galar, it has high special attacking power. Do you wonder why I rhyme? Because the Pokemon is Mr. Rhyme. If you didn't know, Tramp is a silent film character. And what are silent films known for? Well, besides the silent part. Early ones were in black and white, no color, and now look at Mr. Rhyme's shiny. It's basically just its normal colors desaturated. What a nice way to reference old black and white films. As meh as I feel about Mr. Rhyme's shiny itself, its origin is certainly ingenious.
Heading over to Hoenn for a little bit for Taillow and Swallow. While most people are familiar with Swallows and their typical blue and black shades, fewer people know that there's also a green variation of Swallow. It's called the Violet Green Swallow. I know it's not a very creative name, but I didn't name it, so don't blame me. But it seems to be a likely reason for why shiny Taillow and Swallow are sporting a green look.
Shiinotic is based on a shiitake mushroom. Do you know what its shiny looks like? It turns brown and yellow and green. A shiitake mushroom with all the colors of human waste. Dirty joke?
So next we have Girafarig and Farigiraf. The shinies both have blue noses. Girafarig also has blue hooves and spikes to match it, so while this is not a perfect match to the real-life counterpart, the particular choice of blue, I believe, is likely a reference to how real giraffes often have blue tongues. Now when it comes to the changes from yellow to a different shade of yellow and, orange to red, well, it's maybe a stretch because there is no red giraffe. There's a bunch of subspecies of giraffes and some of them could be perceived as being more red than others, but that's a stretch. Almost as long of a stretch as the neck of a Farigiraf reaches, which is very long.
Trust me, we've saved the best for last, and by best, I mean most interesting. Well, in my opinion at least. Now, there are a lot of Pokemon whose shiny seem to have pretty obvious origins, like for example, Luvdisc being a heart of gold, Sandygast and Palisands turning black because of Black Sand beaches, Lechonk and Doinkalone turning pink because, well, pigs, Clauncher and Clawitzer being the actual colors of what they're based off of, the Kalos starters turning the colors that best embody the RPG classes off which they're based, and more. But then you have some that aren't so obvious and therefore much more intriguing, like the ones we've already gone over on this list, and Cramorant. It turns this bright orange color, and the inspiration for this may come from multiple occurrences of seagulls in the UK accidentally falling into vats of curry, turning their plumage completely orange. When I first found out about this, I was mind blown. If you ask me, it's a very unique, clever, and even funny idea for a shiny Pokemon origin. To be honest, I'm not that crazy about Cramorant as a Pokemon, but you have to admit, if this really was the inspiration for its shiny, that's pretty dang brilliant. And there you go, 20 potential shiny Pokemon origins. And a huge thanks to Linnie for coming on and helping me out with this.
Feel free to correct or expand on any knowledge you might have about shiny Pokemon, and don't forget to check out the other part of our collab on my channel, where we fix some bad shiny colors of Pokemon.
If you enjoyed our video here, please drop a like, and like Linnie said, be sure to let us know your thoughts and or ideas in the comments. And for more Pokemon videos, please subscribe to both our channels. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next one. Cacophonous Corphish and Elite Trainer Lynn out.